And we are live with the first game of the Grand Finals, a best-of-3 Grand Finals featuring Team Bizarre facing off against VWS. VWS played in an incredible lights-out game to take down, well, a tough match on their way up here for the victory. Whereas Bizarre, they just came out of a big win versus Perpetuum, who beat the #1 seed in the EU Challengers Cup.
So, I mean, we can speculate on what we think is going to happen with this game. What direction do you think VWS is going to go? Because last time we saw them, they went up. You know, they basically had a all-around kind of team comp that had to try and deal a lot of anti-healing.
I think they're going to try to lock out the major healers. We see Hell already banned out, and they're going to go for something more all-around again this time. As the all-around team comp seemed to work quite nicely. They played their gods to strengths, and they actually did a very good job of just eradicating their opposition here. And even though they couldn't take the game-winning fights they needed, they wisened up and took the smart play, going for a major out-rotation, and actually pulling off a pretty big win in the final few minutes of the game. Without getting a single kill, mind you.
Yeah, it was a sheer, hey, we just took your Titan kind of thing. So, interesting to see how that goes. But Serqet and Wukong already looking like a very tough team to really lock down on VWS. Meanwhile, Team Bizarre has Khepri already locked in. So, speaking of tough to lock down, it might be a bit hard to kill some of these high priority targets. But Neith and AiurZ are going to be highlighted. And actually, Team Bizarre switching over to Agni now. You know, I feel like after having such a strong first pick, these second few picks might be a little weak in a certain aspect.
I mean, I think they work out nicely for what Bizarre wants to do. I'd rather have seen possibly an AiurZ in this matchup here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, VWS, they're going to often say, I'm expecting to see possibly an Aphrodite ban out for the third ban, just to prevent the whole Khepri Aphrodite thing from coming through again. But at the same time, I can see their next ban go either way. Also, they didn't lock in that crazy late-game Xing as well, so VWS not too concerned about having a massive time bomb in their hand this game around as well.
Team Bizarre is waiting to decide on their ban. So let's see if we do see a support ban, which it ended up being actually a Geb ban. Yeah, so support ban. Now, VWS has the option to take the Aphrodite that you mentioned earlier for themselves and potentially lock in something pretty good there, but instead they're going to go with Xing, who has been kind of hit and miss today, but overall I think he's had a successful showing as a pretty strong CC machine that demands B to be used, or Aegis.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to let Aphrodite fall on through, as she's not actually going to be picked up here, and yeah, Bizarre not really even hovering over her. Wlfy being hovered right now, but I don't think they're going to lock this one in unless they want to rock a Neith in the solo lane, but
that's very possible.
You know, we could see a Neith solo lane, true here, and Wlfy would bring that late game carry damage. They have so much damage on their side, and this is going to be a very, very all-in win or nothing comp here, but Sobek instead the change to the hover on. Bizarre, that's one that makes a bit more sense here, as they've got a few people to protect their backline in here, and a lot of ways to deal that backline damage. There we go. Bizarre locking in a Sobek as their last pick.
I think I would have liked a Tier a little bit more, but I think this is just as good. Tier locks people down a little bit longer and gives your team a bit more of a predictable pathing when it comes to killing an opponent. So, say for example, in the instance of Sobek, you do have a predictable fling pattern, but with Tier, you're just kind of putting them against a wall or anything like that. But it's a mute point at this point. Team Bizarre's team comp is very strong. VWS team comp, I also like a lot, especially with that Nox pickup. She, of course, does a lot of damage. Now, one of the things I do worry about for VWS Gaming is making it through the kind of early game phase, because they don't actually have a lot of tools to win that for them. Meanwhile, Team Bizarre has quite a bit on their side. Neith Worldweaver alone makes a huge difference. And then, of course, Agni's bombs are mana-free and relatively low cooldown. So that's always going to be consistently hitting Nox, who does have escape mechanic, but at the same time, when you couple Awilix with the Agni and with the Neith, that's really difficult to survive as a mid laner.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely difficult to survive, but we're going to see if they can be the true survivors here, or will somebody fall short in game 1. We got quite a game ahead of us, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with, week 4 of the Challengers Cup, brought to you by Tier Monster and hi-rez Studio. We'll be right back with more action, so do stay tuned. We'll see you in a bit. And we are live with the first game of the Grand Finals, featuring Bizarre versus VWS. We are sorry about the delay, but we did have to remake the game very, very quickly. However, we're into the action now, and Shadow Boy should be a good one this time around.
I mean, yeah, it's the finals. We always expect good games out of the finals, and even more so is these are pretty interesting team compositions on both sides. I mean, both have their own unique qualities about them that make it hard to predict exactly what is going to happen.
Yeah, and that is going to be the one thing that swings things around here, as now we're going to see both teams grouped up around somewhere. VWS actually sitting around their Tier 2 tower right now as a complete cluster right now. Otherwise, Bizarre making the first major moves around the map towards their major starting points here.
Yeah, I think that they're just waiting, kind of not putting themselves in a position to where something bad could happen. If you wait long enough, then the enemy team basically has to either A, invest extremely heavily into the idea of an invade, or B, just all out give up on it and head back to your own safe start.
And now we will see the move coming through. Looks like we'll have a pause in the next moment or so, so we got plenty of time. Otherwise, yeah, in a minute. So, otherwise, we're going to get towards the start here. Otherwise, Shadow Boy, things seem fairly standard now. Where do you really expect the game to go from here?
You know, I think the first point of interest is going to be the middle lane. As I mentioned earlier, Neith Worldweaver plus Agni, continuous burst damage. I think that that's probably going to be the point where you're really wanting to make a kill happen. Okay, over in the if you are on the side of Team Bizarre. If you're Team Bizarre, that's where you want to be focused on. But at the same time, if you're VWS Gaming, then you can definitely make an argument to make a play over in the solo lane onto Sobek if you have the Serqet. So you have a lot of tools to just basically keep him there, and you have 2 stuns essentially. So it's a really easy argument to say, okay, well, let's make a play on the character that expects it the least and hope to God that we can get it. That way our Sobek can actually get ahead. Alright, Wukong.
This is actually a bit of a discussion behind the scenes going on right now, so this will be a bit of a long pause while we work a few issues out. We might actually have to go into a new game as well, so do stay tuned. Unfortunately, Shadow Boy, we're going to have to go to a short break screen, so we'll be right back with more Challengers Cup action as we get things sorted out behind the scene. And once again, we're back into the show. Third time is the charm, it seems, so VWS Gaming facing off against Team Bizarre here, both sides doing similar starts this time around, and VWS hanging it safely around the backside of the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the same start we saw last time. They're not going to let anybody jump on them, but rather say, alright, if you want to hang out in our jungle, that's fine. But keep in mind, we're going to stay here until about 5 seconds before buff camp spawn. So then you're going to have to basically either A, invest extremely heavily into the idea of ganking us and hope to God it works, or forfeit your or actually forfeit your chances of ganking and just stick to your own buff camps. But we both know that neither of which is going to become an issue, because it doesn't look like Team Bizarre ever had any inclination of wanting to do so.
It doesn't seem that way at all, but the ward line is set up for Team Bizarre here, and they've got a nice spray of vision around the map here. So they'll see a lot of the early rotations coming out of VWS Gaming this time around, which will be a nice advantage early on, as long as you're able to properly use said vision. And that's one of always the big stipulations behind vision. It's great if you can use it properly here, but there shouldn't be too much of a reason to use it properly here at all, as both teams doing standard starts, buffs cleared out and ready to go, so this should just come down to the wire in the landing phase.
So now both parties are making their way towards the lane. Agni actually helping out with the speed buff rather than doing the red buff start with his dual lane. And the dual lane did a back harpy into attack speed start. So wanting to put a little bit more emphasis on getting the dual lane a little further ahead. They don't really see a benefit to giving Agni the red buffs just yet.
And not quite yet. No point in it right now, as well as Agni. Able to clear out quite nicely even without it still. And it's going to be a rough matchup for him no matter what it does here, but Wlfy can start clearing out these waves in about 1 or 2 shots, thanks to being, well, knocks early on here. We'll see Purdze joining the party as well quite early on. Serqet, well, not in the game at all, but that is going to be an Awilix for some reason, so we should be seeing no major aggression just yet.
Serqet!
I know! Oh my god, she is! I apologize. Alright, I got lost in my words there. I am sorry, Shadow Boy.
It's fine. So mid camps are going to split. We're going to see both the mid and jungle for both teams make their way to the middle lane. So Serqet going to be pretty useful in the late game when she starts getting those crits rolling. She's going to be able to pretty much 100-0 Agni whenever he's not looking. That's kind of the interesting factor about having both of these assassins. They both function very well at one job. I'm going to hide in this corner. When you come through the jungle, I'm going to kill you instantly, and then we're going to take an objective like Fire Giant or Wlfy.
Yeah, it's one of those things also to watch out for, especially in the back line of these fights. Serqet can very easily get in there, fire off a single last breath as well, and be able to just so easily lock down and kill a target, especially these squishier targets. Agni does have a way out of here, but Zigox, no, he's on the team of Serqet here, but Neith, once you get that backflip out of the way, Serqet's got an easy time, and Serqet has so many ways of getting over towards a Neith after that backflip that it may not be enough with a single backflip.
I mean, you know, you consider an assassin with 2 movement mechanics. It's a little difficult to actually argue any kind of escape from that person. But I really like this call to steal the red buff. They know that there was no red buff onto the Agni, and they took that opportunity. And there it is! That's going to be the first last breath used, and that's going to be the first kill secured for FleuryQ.
Going down as expected for FleuryQ right there and putting himself in a good position to start carrying away this game. FleuryQ gonna just abuse that Serqet right there and doing wonders for his team. VWS, the first team to get a victory here early on, and now up about 1.1k gold. So setting off to a very, very solid start now.
So off the bat, getting 1 kill, especially on the Serqet, as you mentioned, is huge. It's a good factor for the members of VWS Gaming, but the question always becomes, is after you get that first blood kill, are you going to do anything with it? And I think that one of the best places you can do something with it is on Sobek, who only has 1 hard escape mechanic, and then of course his lurking in the waters being his best route out of trouble after that point. But even still, that's not necessarily the greatest when you consider how much damage is going to follow up on you, especially if the CC is chained together perfectly. So last breath into 72 transformations, into a little bit more damage. He's probably going to use lurking waters. By then he'll be about 10% health. It's usually a pretty good win for you if you pull it off.
It's honestly terrifying just how much single target long-term lockdown that VWS has on their side right here. Team Bizarre gonna be struggling to deal with that one, I'd say. So, see with the Team Bizarre to see how they're gonna respond to this one, as this is going to be the major obstacle left to overcome in this early game, and so far, not looking good for them.
And Wukong making his way back into lane, went for the Warrior tab. Meanwhile, of course, Sobek is going for his own Shoes of Focus, I'm assuming. I could be wrong in that regard, so... But, you know, really surprised to see that there's not a tankier start for Sobek here. Not Sobek, but go ahead.
Round 2 as well. Sorry, Shadow Boy. FleuryQ finding another catch here onto AiurZ, locking them inside Wlfy's detonation right there. A big pickup there for VWS. Sorry, Shadow Boy. These teams finding all kinds of marks all over the map here, as we were seeing a short pause from RedPot come down. So now we can get back to the point you were making, Shadow Boy.
But I didn't mean Sobek, I meant Wukong. So basically, Wukong is going to be dealing with a lot of pressure from Awilix and Sobek. So eliminating one of those factors usually helps out a lot. Now, granted, the solo lane is not the most ideal place to gank, especially if it is a Wukong. But, that being said, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch of imagination to see Awilix come over there, especially with how aggressive Wukong has been lately. Now, going back over to your spiel, what happened in that fight?
Basically, you know, standard stuff you saw. You say Serqet lurks around a corner. This time they had Wlfy waiting in the corner. Nox simply dropped her field around the areas. Now Ducky might be caught out here, but Ducky's got friends in high places. It seems Axioz gonna caught out here, but a toss right into Purdze right there. But Ducky still has the ultimate ticking on. He's gonna be fine for now, healing up into a bit of a rough patch here. We will see JacobHL joining the party as well. We could see a full-on team fight breaking out around the skirmish area, but instead, VWS is going to opt to back away for something else this time around. Instead, he's going to clear out their jungle and not lose too much. But like I was saying, essentially it worked out how you normally see a Serqet. Last breath, right into a detonation from Nox, just right into just sudden death. There was no real way to get away from that one, other than just knowing what's happening. So unfortunately, Team Bizarre got to step up the work control in these middle corridors and these tight corridors as well.
So going into the 5-minute marker. So far, it's been VWS controlling the board controlling the game all day. The gold lead is at about 1.5k, experience lead at 2.5k, and Wlfy came out and is actually trying to set up a kill over on the poor Ducky over here, who's now surrounded by about 3 members.
Oh, Ducky. I think he's gonna be fine, but yeah, Ducky facing a lot of pressure this game. This Team Bizarre getting completely in his face there. Axie is actually going to force Ducky to stick around here just by showing a bit of presence. Luckily this time around, Ducky doesn't have 3 members of the enemy team pouring down his throat, but there's still 3 members of the enemy team pouring down VWS all over the map. Zigox needs to get to safety as soon as he can, not back up like that. He sees the enemy coming, he does smell Purdze. He is going to get the lockdown on the Purdze right there. That's a huge chunk of damage as he will leap away to safety. But the meteor stun is good, Noxious Fume's doing work. Zigox though, he's still alive. AiurZ now turns the damage around as Wlfy will rain death and destruction here. FleuryQ does find a last breath of the RedPot, who will leap away. Now PurplePot locked down, a quick bounce, a quick death for Zigox right there as PurplePot will fall in the end. AiurZ on feud. AiurZ needs to find his way out, but JacobHL is not going to give him the chance. One more tick of damage as now RedPot locked down. FleuryQ will poison and send him another last breath right there, but not the ultimate this time around. Purdze gets the turnaround here, and no bounce to stun him away as Team Bizarre, they take a 1 kill away. At the same time, VWS, they get more than enough to make that completely work.
Very good job by the members of VWS Gaming there. The only kill that was able to be returned was kind of a last awkward one by Awilix, but she even ended up getting in a lot of trouble afterwards. So overall, very strong start for these guys. And even some Wukong finding the right side mid harpies while all that action was going on, really maximizing his gold income.
Yeah, doing a great job of that, and farming across the map has been one of the things that VWS have been actually really milking for all it's worth here. That's one of the things that really is the big part of their gold lead here. They've gotten the 5 kills, yeah, but they've always been translating that into extra farm and extra objectives here. Not so much like the big objectives like the Gold Fury or the buffs, but farm. These back camps, these mid camps, they've been taking away farm wherever it can be found on the map and just denying it away from Team Bizarre at the same time. So all in all, VWS doing a great job of just controlling the map and the limited supply of minions on it.
Over in the middle lane, a strong grouping by 3 members of VWS Gaming, just wanting to find some kind of kill opportunity onto Agni, but now they see the Sobek over there, giving a little bit of pressure onto their own son Wukong, and there it is, they're going to put all of their damage right into Sobek, who is going to get annihilated before he can even think about it. So Wukong looked to make the call for, hey, can we steal this blue buff? And his teammates like, ah, sure, why not?
Yeah, they can just muscle on in there, Shadow Boy, pretty easily here. At the same time, I think AiurZ doesn't want to let the one happen here. Does have the catch out here, but AiurZ might have that turned on his head. Ducky will get rooted out, but that's just his clone, so nobody really cares about the clone, unfortunately.
Yeah, and actually the blue buff was taken away from them, but on the other side of the map, RedPot 1v1 against the Houyi, so blue buff was stolen from VWS on the other side, but they did secure their own blue buff. Yep, they were able to get that one. Now, it looks like Awilix, bit of a missed call as she's trying to make a play happen and actually nearly dies there, but no chase is going to happen, and so Wukong as well as Serqet are a little too low on resources to continue the fight there.
Yeah, they don't want to just bank on not having the bait come through from the rest of Team Bizarre. Whenever you make a play like that, it's usually safe to assume that there's some kind of plan in the back of Team Bizarre's mind, so unfortunately for them, they don't have the major overview that we have as casters, so they're going to back off and make the safe approach here. They've got a lead, no point in throwing it away by making, too much of a chase or committing too much to a kill.
So Sobek finds himself a Nox in his lane, a little interesting there. He's not going to actually like to try and pull, maybe?
Oh, he might go for it, that could be bad here. Ducky's
no,
right around the corner. Yeah, just an auto attack there, just trying to interrupt Wlfy. Wlfy, not going to respond to the cheekiness that well at all. He'll just simply fire off one of those rage autos and back off just fine and dandy. Now Ducky actually caught behind enemy lines here, trying to go for a steal, but he needs to make a quick escape here. Could get locked down. Does need to go for the bird of nope as soon as the camp. The stuns are coming through. Does pop the beads as fast as he can. Will go straight into the Ox and juke his way out of that one. Blue suede shoes doing work for him this game around. So Ducky going to be fine and dandy, despite once again escaping from 3 members of Team Bizarre.
So this time he's going for the Stone of Gaia approach. That's giving him a lot of sustain in lane. I do agree with this one, just because of the sustain, but I also would have liked a Bulwark better just to handle the burst damage that Agni as well as Sobek can bring later on into the game. So a little bit interesting there, but over in the middle lane. A lot of damage coming out onto Awilix and Agni, both of which are in dangerously low health, one of which actually ended up dead. So, that's another set of kills going on to VWS Gaming, and you look over, that's a 4-1 Serqet with a Jotun's Wrath and Warrior Tabi. That usually in most ranked games means GG.
Yeah, usually it does, but this is a more competitive scene. However, VWS know how to absolutely push the margin on their advantages, and so far they're doing a good job of just pushing them hardcore. We've seen what happens when VWS tends to get ahead, but this time around they've got gods that can translate this well. They'll run away with this one, and this time around there's no time bomb on Team Bizarre. There's no late game holdout hope for them. VWS, honestly, in my opinion here, has a team that will scale up into the late game and work wonders here. So VWS, if they keep this up, they're going to push on through this game at their own pace here, and that's why it's working out so well for them.
Oh man, over in the dual lane, Serqet just annihilates me, but the victory ultimate saves her, but that's still not a good image to see. Didn't even need to use the last breath, just instantly gives, just instantly gives a small combo and annihilates most of the health of Neith, and honestly could do it again, but instead Serqet is just going to look for any kind of farming opportunity. But remember, she's not in this game.
Yeah, I know, I mean, Serqet definitely does using that new invisibility passive quite well, as we can see. At the same time, VWS doing a good job of just staying in the faces of Team Bizarre. They're constantly in their jungle. Same thing happening for Ducky. Ducky is not afraid here. Now that he's got FleuryQ on his side here, Serqet will go into the last breath and go straight for AiurZ, using that invisibility to her leverage, of course, even though she doesn't quite have it now, as JacobHL, he's going for the fight. This should be a foregone conclusion as Axioz, he's locked out alone. Ducky is going to be shredding into him, and Axioz, he's getting body blocked by everything. Even his own minions seem to be working against him, even though they're not quite body blocking him. A quick cudgel later, and Ducky picks up another kill. Could fall here, but a quick turn from Ducky will save him from Purdze's toss right there. Suku not claiming a new victim as RedPot joining the party. PurplePot gonna get prevented from the pursuit by Wlfy there, who will join his support there. Gonna toss out a quick burst of damage. It's ticking off. He'll get the kill with a dot on the RedPot right there. And this looks like VWS doing a textbook snowball once again for the second time this tournament. And this seems to be in the grand finals here. And that makes it all the more impressive, I have to say.
Now they're pushing down the middle tower, and they should be able to get this one. Tier 1 going their way. VWS Gaming has had no real resistance from Team Bizarre at all. But the Gold Fury is going to be started up, and that's just going to be more gold in their pocket, shooting the lead up probably to about 7.5k. I'm not seeing too many scenarios where Bizarre is going to do well if they don't pick it up.
Yeah, the big problem here is that Team Bizarre, they don't have the mystical lake in the rely on. VWS has the comp that scales so hard, now AiurZ getting caught up by Ducky here. They're going to have these tanky monstrosities. Zigox will just get worse and worse to deal with, and Nox is a damage monstrosity, as we just saw there, bursting PurplePot despite his tankiness. Axioz is deep in the middle of this fight, inside of VWS's line. They're trying to just rain in the damage. JacobHL, the only one to fall. Everyone else on VWS so healthy right now and able to rain damage. Zigox low, but it's not going to matter too much. AiurZ can't quite find the meteors, as they're all out of charges there. And now, VWS taking the Gold Fury, taking a good fight win, following up, and JacobHL, the only one to fall. Team Bizarre, they're getting kills, but an 8,000 gold difference in a massive experience differential. 12,000. That is the big thing that is punishing Team Bizarre right now, is they cannot afford to go toe-to-toe with Wlfy here. He's doing way too much, and Ducky able to get in the face. AiurZ in so much trouble there. Bluestone ticks, not doing enough. He might run the damage over time on the Ducky here, but Ducky, well, he's got the passive, he's got the way out. The clone will start a little party of its own here, but mostly it's going to go ahead and just smack Purdze around a bit.
But mid camp's on the right side, cleared out by Nox. She's coming back into the middle lane. I think that taking a look at these builds, I like where VWS is going with it. So Nox has full cooldowns. I mean, maxed out. So you got the Shoes of Focus, you got the Chronos Pendant, and then on top of that, you've got Hou-Yi sitting on a pretty good build. He's got a lot of attack speed through Soul Eater and Executioner, as well as a bit of extra damage from Warrior Tabi. And then, of course, Jin Chan went for the Shoes of Focus into Mystical Mill. So this whole team is set to just fight right now. They're looking to just group up and take kills wherever they can get them. And I like that strategy right now, just because of how far ahead they are. But it might come back to bite them here, as Jin Chan is in a little bit of an awkward spot against quite a few members of Team Bizarre. But hold on here, he's able to CC immune himself for just long enough. Able to let the reinforcements in a little early on the Khepri ultimate, but that's not going to save Agni from the Hou-Yi damage.
Yeah, the cavalry has arrived, Bluff, and they are doing plenty of work here. Purdze will finally finish off JacobHL on the backside, but a double kill for Zigox. He's doing so much work as Ducky will join the party as well. Suku goes up and about. Flurry trying to dive on him, but he can't quite land the Cobra's Kiss right there. But now Purdze locked out alone. FleuryQ dives on over. A quick Tiger Stun. A death. FleuryQ picks up the kill onto Purdze right there, punishing him for his transgressions. And now VWS, they take what could have been a great play there and just divide Team Bizarre and tear them to shreds. And they only get one kill for all of their efforts there. While VWS, they walk away with the barn and all the animals inside of it.
My goodness, that is just a huge...
It's just so disgusting right now the damage FleuryQ can do.
Well, I mean, you know,
not to mention Zigox as well. There's so many damage stuff inside of VWS right now. Like, there's just way too many of them. Even then, Wlfy's going to become a massive monster right now. But what can you realistically do if you're Team Bizarre?
If you're Team Bizarre, again, you kind of have to just hope that Awilix can get some good plays together and then look for the team fights where Agni can just do things in the back line. But again, just because of how deep the reach is for VWS into the backline, there's no real answers. You're basically setting yourself up to just get harassed, and you have to find your own self-measures to deal with it. Now, there are a couple of things that they have to help out with that, such as the Khepri ultimate, but I don't think it's going to help here, as now the damage pours out. Jacob is able to find the kill onto Awilix, and they're turning their attention over to PurplePot, who's forced to use the dash out, but I don't think that there's going to be too much more chase coming out from VWS Gaming, as they seem to have their attention a little split.
Yeah, they're just trying to like divide and conquer right now, and so far it's actually working out for them. They've divided up the rest of Team Bizarre here. RedPot going to be aggressed on by Zigox and friends. Wlfy trying to find the kill here, and there we go. Death raining from above as Zigox will secure the kill here. On the backside comes Axioz though. He will find a pluck. AiurZ going to try to rain meteors, and he will find the stun, but Wlfy simply drops from the JacobHL and will ride along and tag along. AiurZ does find a nice beat there to save his life, but JacobHL simply dragging Wlfy along to safety right there. Both going to escape just fine for putting a lot of damage to Team Bizarre there. Everyone escaping alive, and still 9,000 gold up. A surrender vote has come on through here, but it may or may not be finalized here, and that leads to one of the big things we have to talk about here, Shadowboy. This is a series, so this mentality means everything. How do you think this game will affect Team Bizarre, and can they carry through and keep their mentality strong?
I think that it's more of a preventing frustration thing.
We talk about this sometimes. It's like, okay, sometimes it's good to just go ahead and surrender, reset to a game 2, and then try to treat the series just a straight up best of 2 here. If you lose the next game, it's game over, but you're back into assault position here as long as you win it. So, realistically, do you think that they have a chance to keep fighting us out and try to like get that mentality? It's like, oh yeah, we're getting kills, we're getting some momentum, and try to carry that one on through, and then try to disrupt VWS's momentum, or try to like keep that mentality strong and just refresh?
I'm leaning more towards the refresh. Just get a clean slate. I mean, it's still possible to win.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there's hundreds of scenarios, hundreds of instances where a win can be achieved. But let's take a look at this fight real quick, as that's going to be the main indicator. Khepri ultimate ticking onto Awilix, but again, Serqet's just going to be able to take her out nice and easy, make their way further down and steal some jungle camps, and then probably make their way further down to the fire giant, bait out a fight, force the issue.
Yeah, especially with Ducky just lurking in the corner. He's going to put some pressure onto RedPot. RedPot will get a little bit of extra safety from Khepri here, but, well, no ultimate, and RedPot taking so much damage here. The minions are adding quite a bit to this fight, but Ducky's got a way to reset this one. Fire Giant still started up, though. We could see an attempt at a steal from Team Bizarre, as this pit has earned the nickname Throw Pit for a good reason here. Fire Giant incredibly low. AiurZ right around the corner. He's got the meteors available. He raised him a bit early, but he doesn't find it here, as VWS will get the Fire Giant. He comes close, though, and now he's locked out alone. Ducky will find him. Beads come through, but Ducky's so low. He gets away from the meteor as Zigox goes divine, and he will earn his divinity right there. A soft deicide comes through for VWS, and right now, well, we're way past dire straits, Shadow Boy. We're in a shipwreck right now.
Yeah, this is over. I mean, Serqet getting those first few kills kind of just led to a snowball, essentially, which is a little disappointing to see in the finals, but at the same time, it's not something that you can't see coming given the circumstance.
It's very impressive too to see at this level of play. I mean, earlier on one of the earlier round games, like, alright, yeah, it's a pretty cool snowball. But here, Snowflake is one of the teams that have fought their way through some of the teams that have actually beaten the #1 seeded team. It's fairly impressive to see them pull off such a solid and textbook snowball here. As well, they're going for another fight under the Phoenix here. RedPot may not have much of a way out of this one, but Axioz, he's trapped in the middle of the back line here. A quick pull in onto Zigox there as he dives with the dive bomb there. We're going to see Purdze get an escape here. Axioz also rocking the ultimate from Khepri and still trying to escape as well. But the rest of the members of Team Bizarre They're locked down, they're alone in the dark, and they're going to fall in the end. Another death for them, but VWS, they want to back off, they want to find some more objectives, and they want to completely seal the fates of Team Bizarre right now.
Yeah, they have every ability to do so here soon. I mean, Phoenix down, Fire Giant ticking on them. They're basically waiting for the next big fight to kind of just bait out the enemy team and then go from there. But at this point, they're just going to clear out the towers, get some gold, finish off some builds, and go back at it again.
Go back at it again, and that's the key here. Phoenix is now exposed in favor of VWS Gaming. There's also a Fire Giant taking on the members of VWS as well. Team Bizarre, they're on their last legs, on the ground as well. They've got to make something of a miracle happen here, but, well, miracles are a very, very rare occurrence as we've seen in games this far gone. So, VWS is simply looking forward to walk through this one. Goal differential now at 17,000. In the experience, that's where it's deadliest. A 25,000 lead in favor of Team VWS.
Wlfy is going to take this one away pretty easily over in the Wlfy pit. And from there, yeah, the surrender vote. I'm more inclined. Go through this time. I'm more inclined to believe that this one should probably be over. Just simply because there's not really much point into just dragging out the frustration, blame, anything of that nature. You're better off just going ahead, cutting the frustration, move on to the next game.
Yeah, just keep your mentality strong. This is a series, so losing game one, it hurts a bit, but you can recover, and you can get into the next game just as strong. So, VWS will take game one over Team Bizarre, and an incredibly textbook snowball. But Bizarre, they're ready to fire back, I'm quite sure, so we're not going to make them wait that long. We're going to be ready to go right into the action. So, we'll be right back with more Challengers Cup action. This is the Challenger Cup, brought to you by Tier Monster and hi-rez Studios. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit. And we are live with, unfortunately, the end of the Challengers Cup. We're going to have to use the best of one results, as it does appear that myself, my other casters, and several members of the teams are not being let back into the servers. So, unfortunately, it would take too long to wait for the servers to come up, so we're just going to go off of the results of the best of one. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is, and VWS will take the convincing win over Team Bizarre this week and secure that #1 spot for themselves. So, Shadowboy, let's go ahead and close this one out. If they can find you and talk about the fact that there is no Serqet, where can they find you?
If you want to talk to me about accidental slips, you can find me at Shadowboy Gaming on Twitter.com. Now we're for you and the rest of the production crew.
You can find me, as well as many more accidental slips, at Soza Smites on Twitter. Soza spelled with a 0 instead of an O, where of course we discuss the merits of Serqet not existing and existing at the same time. Meanwhile, you may find Target and his, well, Schrodinger's cat at InTargetProduct on Twitter. There he announces all tournaments that he takes part as production in, and some tournaments he casts on as well. So make sure you go ahead and give him a follow as well. Make sure you also tune in next week for the final week of the open play-ins for the Challengers Cup, as that should be an incredibly exciting one. But for now, we're going to have to close out with you guys. I am Soza, joined here by Shadowboy and M-Target this week. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you next week.